Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Towns. We got some guest speakers. A very good friend, Leanne, our state rep. We're going to honor you from Unifying Group Foundation for supporting us for the past 6 years. Come on, Leanne. Thank you so much, Leanne, for all your work and support. So much. The past 6 years.
Thank you, Eric. That was such a lovely surprise. I'm Leanne Kruger. I've been representing this area for 5 years in the State House, and I'm proud to have not missed a Unity Day yet. I'm grateful for the work that Unifying Group of Media does to support our community and to plan not just this event, but other wonderful community events across the year. And I have a friend with me here today. Is it okay if I introduce that? So this is election year. If you're not happy with what's happening in Washington or Harrisburg, we'll have a lot of work to do before November. And a good friend of mine is here, Deb Siamaka. She's running for the state legislature in the district right over next to me. So if you live not in South Media, but if you live in Media itself, then Deb is running to be your next state representative. And I have to tell you folks, I really could use her help in Harrisburg. Deb is a retired Marine and a retired teacher. She is tough. She cares a lot about so many issues, including gun safety, common sense gun safety legislation, which we desperately need to pass in Harrisburg. Deb, come up and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you all for having me here today. I think there's no more important issue right now than commemorating the March on Washington that happened in 1963. And reaching back and thinking about the values that Martin Luther King and all the people who represented us back in 1963. And we have to figure out a way to make things better right now, because right now they are not. And as a former high school teacher, I taught government and politics for 20 years. And the day after Mr. Trump was elected, I had gay kids and black kids and transgender kids, Hispanic kids come into my classroom and cry and say to me, Mrs. Siamaka, how is it that we have a person who says such awful things about us now represent us as president? We can do so much better, and we must do so much better. We cannot go on like this one more day, because Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, and we cannot, and you heard that today, 8 minutes we stood here, 8 minutes, and someone's life was taken away. We cannot continue like this one more day. And I pledge to you that if I get up there to Harrisburg to help Leanne Kruger, I will help Leanne Kruger with criminal justice reform and education reform, so that every single child will have the ability to go to the best school, and that criminal justice reform will take place in Pennsylvania, so that every single life will matter. So thank you so much for having me here today. This is a Unity Day, and we must celebrate the unity, but we may also look at how can we be a better America so that all of us have the same opportunities to succeed. Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, I'm just another mom from down the street, but I just want to let you know about a new group that's formed. If you want to work on policing in your community, you know, we want policing to be safe for all of us. And there's something called the DELCO, Municipal Police Accountability Coalition. It's kind of a long name, but we're all organizing together, each one of us working with each of our municipalities. DELCO has 49 municipalities and 44 different police departments. We need to work together to make this better. We have a little table over here. You're welcome to scan the little code or get a flyer, but please sign up if you want to help. Thank you.
My name is Carol Kazine, originally from Kingston, PA, and I also grew up around Ridley. They asked me to speak. I honestly didn't know what I was going to say, so I just, wrote from my heart. about like 45 minutes ago. So let's speak from a black woman's perspective in Delaware County. Racism is buried underground, but it's no secret to our society. Being a black woman in Delco means we have to stand up for what is right, even if it means sacrifice, which means to be strong physically, mentally, and emotionally, as we are perceived to be the backbone of our family. As a black woman, I have to fight 2 times harder against systematic racism, which affects people of color, of life from education within the public school finance system and predominant black areas, or even incarceration rates, which goes back to our criminally unjust system. As a black mother and wife in Delco, you start to think, how do you protect the men you love the most in the world when it's also the very thing that the society fears the most? We tell ourselves to support, to stand strong, educate, but yet with all the solutions that are thought of, our fears validated every day by the news of another death of a young black male child or man, as we still watch over their backs from the streets, and also being racially profiled by police officers. But in reality, as a black woman, I still fear for our minorities who serve as law enforcement officers, or even in the Army, because they too experience the discrimination in the force. Being a black woman in Delco is looking into areas to reside and doing process of elimination based off of which area is least likely to act out on discrimination towards your home and your children. Thinking which area will you be more of an acceptance. Now even more as a black woman, I find myself fending more for children that are biracial, as they now have to walk into a society who now mocks them because they look brown. As a black woman, we face racism as well. We are the least likely to be heard in our society. Majority of the racism that we experience amongst us black women is especially in our workplace. On August 25th, 1864, over a year and a half after the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation, a black woman named Annie Davis wrote Abraham Lincoln, President Abraham Lincoln, from Maryland. Mr. President, it is my desire to be free, to go see my people on the Eastern Shore. My mistress won't let me. You will please let me know if we are free and what I can do. I write to you for advice. Please send me a word within a week or as soon as possible. In the same month of March, which took place on the 1st of this year, I led a march in Ridley Township along with the organizers of Delco Resist, pleading for blacks in Ridley Township to be also set free from racism. Delaware County is no more a secret. Racism is real. People get upset when I always bring up that quote from Annie Davis because it was in the past and it was during slavery. And a lot of times they don't want to keep hearing about the slavery anymore. They feel like it's over. But I won't be silenced because it's a part of who I am as a black woman. It is me. Annie Davis wrote our then President Abraham Lincoln in order to free me so I can walk free, and I will continue to live by what she asked. It is my past, and without acknowledging the past and without speaking on it, there is no way we can justify where things went wrong in our society and ways we can change it. When we say black lives, we are not saying all lives don't matter, because they do. But all lives can't matter until black lives matter too. It is time to take accountability. It is time to take accountability of our actions, Delaware County. We have to make a change. There is no other option. So our children are not standing on two opposite sides, repeating the same chants all over again. But where they can stand on a profound day like this, Unity Day, And one day, once everything is proven, once we have proven it, then we can start screaming, all lives matter. Thank you.
My name is Anna Guy. I was born privileged. I could have done a little better like my brother, but I can't complain. I grew up upper middle class and my parents put me through college. Privilege. My parents bought their first house in 1972 for $28,000. They sold it for $90,000 7 years later. I don't remember there being a single black family in that neighborhood. Privilege. Nobody told me back then that black families were systemically denied home ownership in housing developments based solely on the color of their skin, even if they could more than afford it. I thought every family could triple their money in 7 years by owning a house. Privilege. I have learned a lot recently about systemic racism in the history of our country, about how black people continued to be enslaved after the Civil War through sharecropping and the prison system, and about the Tulsa Massacre. I have seen 45 celebrate and encourage racists, and watch the racists in our country feel emboldened to crawl out from under their rocks. As a volunteer in my kids' elementary school, I got to know a lot of kids, and I have become friends with many moms in my neighborhood. My heart breaks for my friends who are raising children they know will be judged and hated purely because of the color of the skin they were born with. My son will not be viewed as a thug as he walks down the street in my neighborhood. Nobody will assume my daughter is from Chester when she rides her scooter. Privilege. After seeing the video of George Floyd being slowly murdered and crying for his mother, and learning about how Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down and murdered on video, and the local officials had decided not to charge his killers, and after years of reading about Eric Garner, Philandro Castile, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, I thought about my black friends who hear these stories and worry that could happen to their child. I remember feeling that way after Sandy Hook. I was afraid a nut job could shoot up a school, and I hoped police would help save my children. Parents of black children have valid cause to worry that their child could be murdered by a police officer. In early June, I made a pledge. Now that it has become impossible to deny my privilege and the injustice in our society, I must use that privilege to ensure justice. This time is different. Working with people in Aston, Brookhaven, and Parkside, we've held weekly rotating racial justice demonstrations. Delco Resists has joined us for many of them and have helped spread the word. If you haven't met the amazing people from Delco Resists, make it your business. They are smart, compassionate, and fearless. I'll finish with this. We've been asked many times why we, as white people, display a Black Lives Matter sign or demonstrate for racial equality. It's because we have the privilege to display the sign and to protest. And if we do nothing, we are endorsing the status quo. Racial equality will not be achieved unless we, with our privilege, fight for and with our black and brown brothers and sisters until all lives matters is not just something people yell at us when they see our sign, but a fact. As my friends from Delco Resists say, if all lives matter, help us prove it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Long. I represent the Making a Change Group, founder and executive director. Another name I go by for some of the old school hip hop and R&B heads is DJ Corey-Yak. And so when I was pulling up, y'all was cutting up, pump me up. I said, I don't know which hat I'm gonna play today. I don't know if I'm gonna be Corey Long or DJ Corey-Yak. I might have to get over there on them turntables, man. Turn it up a little bit. All right, I want to thank Eric Towns and the Unifying Group of Media. You know, Eric, for you from brother to brother, man, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you as a role model in our communities, man. To young men and women, African-American men and women of color, man. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for all your team, Unifying Group of Media. Thank you for all that you do. I appreciate you. Also to Haley, who organized the March on Media. Thank you for inviting me. I want to tell you thank you and I appreciate you. And to all the others that organize and support in the struggle against racial and social justice, thank you so much. As an African-American man born and raised in the city of Chester, lived predominantly most of my 45 years in Delaware County. Thank you specifically to our white allies who's been standing with us during this difficult time. To our white allies, we know and we understand the tension that you may or may not feel just to stand for Black Lives Matter. That tension that you may feel to put up a Black Lives Matter yard sign in front of your house or business, or to wear a t-shirt, or to put up a post on social media. That tension that you feel with your relatives and with your neighbors. That same type of tension that you feel of possible discrimination and marginalization is what many of us as African Americans live through day in and day out and have always lived through. So we thank you for standing with us because we know what that tension is like. And although I'll never wish pain and torture on anybody, but I'm also glad that you understand firsthand now what that tension feels like. When an African American feels that tension at their job, when they see something is wrong, when they know they've been discriminated against, and they feel that tension and they can't say anything because they're afraid they're going to lose their job. And then after losing their job, they're going to lose their house or have to do something illegal to keep that house and take care of their family. That's the type of discrimination. That's the type of racial and social injustice that we deal with day in and day out. Again, I can appreciate the rallies and the demonstration that we've done on behalf of so many others that have lost their lives. Recently, maybe not so recently, but we must move from demonstration and rallying, from demonstration to organization, to organizing. From demonstration to organization, from organization to legislation. We have to move the needle forward. Now, some of us may or may not be in a position to be the next legislators. And shout out to our legislators that are here. State Rep Leanne Kruger, thank you. I've heard so much about the great things you've done over the last 5 years. And to the others that are out there, some of you will be and can be the next great legislators to do things for your community right here in Delaware County. And you need to seriously consider that. Not only becoming legislators, but also police officers. If we want to change the culture in law enforcement, we have to look at raising up some of our own to be a part of the law enforcement culture. Especially African Americans. We can't continue to complain about what's being done to us through law enforcement and then at the same time tell our kids to stay away from law enforcement. Don't go near the police. They're the bad guys. We have to change that culture. Again, we have to go from demonstration to organization, from organization to legislation. It's real easy to pick up the things that are happening throughout the country. It's easier to go to Washington and fight for issues that are happening in Milwaukee or Minnesota. But you know what the hard part is? To deal with this stuff in our backyard right here in Delaware County. That's the challenging part. When we have to deal with the racist protests and counter-protests that we saw in Ridley Township less than 30 days ago. When we have to deal with finding funding for our recreation activities so we can keep children safe in places like my hometown, the city of Chester, and address violence prevention. If we want to keep children safe and prevent violence, we need money for recreation. We need to fund things like this great tournament and things that Eric Towns is doing, things that the Making a Change Group is doing, things that Chester Sweep is doing. We have to address this right here in Delco. Violence prevention obviously is a big issue coming from the city of Chester. Chester has 35,000 residents. Out of those 35,000 residents, 6,500 of them are children. There's 565,000 residents in the county of Delaware. That means Chester is 6% of Delaware County. 6% of Delaware County, but when you look at the amount of homicides and murders, Chester has 75% of the murders in Delaware County. How can 75% of anything, how can 6% of anything be responsible for 75% of everything? That's atrocious. We want to talk about racial and social injustice. Let's address it right here in our backyard. When we go from demonstration to organization to organizing, there's things that we can do. We all can do collectively. This is Unity Day, right? We're here to unify, right? There's things that we can organize and do. You can volunteer your time with the local church, with the local community group to support in those recreation activities or social emotional learning for our kids. If you can't volunteer your time, you can volunteer your dime. You can support that organization or that church or that local community center financially. Then specifically in Chester, one of the issues that we're currently dealing with and have been dealing with for quite some time is environmental justice, or injustice, I'll say. Illegal dumping. There's been so many landlords and people that do not live in our community in Chester that have been illegally dumping that has left us with a public health and safety crisis. Some of you can assist in that area. You can partner with us, the same way that you pick up a sign and join the march and join the rallies. You can pick up a phone call. You can pick up a phone and call one of our local officials or you can get involved with an organization that's addressing the issue like Chester Sweeps. They've been doing cleanups. Carl Kazim has been organizing cleanups over the last 2 months or more. Every 2 weeks in Chester. But the reason why people feel that they can come to Chester that don't live there and they can illegally dump is because they don't believe that Chester lives matter. So again, we have to address it right here in Delaware County, in our backyard. And finally, I'll say economic equality. And this goes across the board, economic equality. We have to fight, we have to work harder for economic equality for black and brown people. If you know of an opportunity, whether it's a job training program or something, spread that information on, especially to a person of color. If you have a contact, if you know a local church or local community center or somewhere that you think that opportunity will benefit someone, continue to spread that information. If you know a black-owned business, support that black-owned establishment. And when I say support, don't just go there and pick up a meal if it's a restaurant or, spend $10 or $20. Look at ways you can share that information on social media. Look at ways you can go and buy, 3 or 4 times that and share that in your neighborhood and turn somebody else on to connect that business with an opportunity. Chester's under financial distress. We've been under receivership now for close to 6 months. That means over half of the workforce has been laid off. So So we don't even have a workforce development department right now. They're laid off indefinitely. So if somebody wants to get a resume done, if somebody wants to go look for a job from Chester City Hall, they can't do so because the workforce development team is laid off. These are all areas that we can move from demonstration to organization. You can jump in and you can help. We started an advocacy committee. We're calling it the Castle Group. The group of change, advocacy, and servant leadership. And we'll be meeting twice a month virtually to help organize and address these issues in Chester and in Delaware County. I welcome you to contact us, info@makingachangegroup.org. We also do a live broadcast Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. on the Making a Change Group's Facebook page. Some of you have been a guest, Taylor and a few others, Nasir, C's, worked with us. Reach out to us if you like to connect, if you like to work on any of these initiatives, if any of these things speak to your heart, we'd love to work with you and join you. Thank you once again to Eric, thank you once again to Haley and everybody else that makes this a great day and a great event. God bless you all.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank you for coming out. My name is Dana Lomax Williams. I'm the president of CABI Delco. CABI stands for Coalition to Abolish Death by Incarceration of Delaware County. And what we do is we fight against the injustices in the judicial, the penal, and the prison system. We are the only organization I know in Delco who are moving how we're moving. So if you have a loved one that's behind the walls and you would like support, we'll be glad to support you. We'll help you help your loved one behind the walls. And the reason I'm grateful and I'm thankful that my pastor Collins and Dr. Collins, I'm a member of Church of the Overcomer and Trainer, and I definitely am an overcomer. And I'm thankful because I've been out of prison now. Okay, let me back up. I have 25 years on and off. Somebody say on and off of incarceration. So I'm qualified, I'm certified, and I'm bona fide to do what I do. I'm an expert because I have the experience, right? It is what it is. So I'm grateful that when I did come home 3 years ago, my pastors unctioned me to start. Actually, they were very instrumental in starting Delco CABI. So, hey, mommy, hi, pretty. You want to be a member? So, it's all good. So, what we do is, that's what we do. We help you, help your loved ones behind the walls. I'm a member, like I said, of Church of the Overcomer, and we give out food 3 days a week. I used to volunteer, but I'm in other places, so I come and I go, but they're Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's right over there. Our church is right over there. We have bulletins, and we also provide other resources. So I'm going to tell you, if you have a loved one that's behind the walls and you would like support, please reach out to Delco CABI. We're at 1016 Sunset Street in Trainer at Church of the Overcomer. We have meetings every first Saturday of the month from 10:30 a.m. to 12. I've seen a lot of organizers and activists, saying they do this. I ain't seen not one at CABI. Okay, I'm gonna put y'all out there. Yes, I am. I ain't seen not one in CABI. Delco. So I'm putting all y'all on blast, because some of you actually told me you would be there. You told me you would support me, but you didn't, and you haven't. And we're still waiting, right? Because a lot of us have loved ones that are behind the walls, and there's a stigma. If you've been locked up, people look at you funny. I don't care. I ain't never cared. Not about that. So, and I ain't never been scared, right? So, therefore, I'm asking you so we can break this stigma, right? And support your loved ones behind the walls. If you might know somebody and you want to support them, if you come to CABI Delco at Church of the Overcomer, we will help you support your loved ones. But we need you to participate. You play a major part in that. So I thank you, and I look forward to you supporting Delco CABI, Coalition to Abolish Death by Incarceration. Thank you.
First thing, Eric, wherever E is at, man, this is a great event. Every year we get an opportunity to be with everyone, to try to come together to break this stigma of racism, incarceration, like Dana was talking about, and economic uneven opportunity for people that look like you and I. You know, somebody said to me the other day when we were at an event, what race was I? And I was like, what do you mean, what race am I? I said, I'm the same race as you. And they said, how is that? I said, because I'm from the human race. And I use that a lot now because I think some races or some people believe that we all are human. I really can't understand that concept. I'm 55 years old. Like some people that's out here right now, I've been incarcerated before. I was blessed to get out, get my life together, get a degree, work with schools, work with government, work with all different kind of people. So, from my experience, for me, I think that we are working and moving in the right direction when it comes to trying to have unity, because this thing is about unity in the community, right? So I get an opportunity to do a lot of great things now, like, I'm on a board for a prison that I used to be in. I never thought that could ever happen, right? And I must say that in Delaware County Prison, we do see change with the deprivatization that we're working on. I get to work with people who are incarcerated, who are the most vulnerable, community in this community, right? Because we don't really have resources for people who really actually need help. And that's one of the biggest issues. Like Corey talked about the stats, like Dana talked about how important incarceration was and is, and right now, that we really don't concentrate on the things that we can cap. Meaning that stopping people from going to jail for little stupid things and helping people to stay out of jail who get home if they have some resources. So I'm really big in prison reform because I know, like for myself, that people do change. And it seems to me that the rules only change when certain people are involved. And that stereotyping type of movement has to stop. And we shouldn't have to go through all these things ourselves in order to wake up and say, oh, I see what you mean. And I just hope that change, and I hope for it to pass. I'm really here today to support whatever we do here in Delaware County. As a Delaware County person, as a Delaware County black man, as a Delaware County Muslim. I am Muslim. I am a different faith of some people. Believe it or not, the city of Chester is basically almost 50% Muslim. They might not know that on the paperwork, but it's really like that now. So I just think no matter what our politics is, no matter what our religion is, no matter what our preference is, no matter what our color, our status is, we have to try to find a way to work together for the betterment of our community. Not for us, for our community, right? For our children. And if we don't start right now, who knows where it's going to end up at? And I'm really intense in believing that is possible because of where I am right now, where God has blessed me to be in this present moment. I didn't come here to make a long speech. I only came here to support this movement. I just hope and pray that this day is more successful than last year, and it be successful the next year, and we keep going on and on and on until we're not on this stage talking about racism. Thank you. You have a great day. I appreciate it. My name is Jonathan. I'm doing right here in Queens.
Greetings to all family and friends. As the marathon continues, let's keep running. As time goes on, it isn't a vaccine to cure this thing we call racism and pure hatred that buried our ancestors for many years, yet not too long ago. As each and every one of them fought a good fight, paving the way to put out the wildfire and all. As it damaged and abused us all as black men and women, often forgotten children. I am standing before you all today to let everyone know to be encouraged. Why be encouraged? As we have a very long uphill battle to be continued. We absolutely don't need you to be tired. Let's pull each other up, teach our kids, neighbors, even family members. Color doesn't matter. I'm a person just like you. I bleed just the same. I have a heart just like you. As we might have many similarities, then we actually think. So fast forward. Now it is our turn as millennials, Generation X, and many other generations to come, to have the opportunity of a lifetime to run the home run to victory, to use the tools left behind from our ancestors to end racism, finally within our schools, communities, businesses, as well as our law enforcement and government authorities. What tools some may ask? The tools Martin Luther King Jr., P. Newton, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, and the late great John Lewis. And the list goes on, just to name only a few, who exercised their voices, rights, patience, integrity, strength, and education, all in the fight to combat racism. Now it is up to you to select your tool and use God's greatest gift to combat racism. Now it is up to you, once again, to select your tool and use God's greatest gift and to use it well. I choose my voice. I choose my life to die in this great cause like my ancestors did, and I will keep running by any means necessary. Once again, I'm Nasir Reese from the great city of Chester, and we're going to keep on continue fighting and rallying for change because it just don't stop here, y'all. We're going to keep marching to Washington. We're going to go to Chester and all the surrounding areas. We got to keep fighting, y'all. We can't give up. Thank you once again.
Hey guys, how's it going today? My name is Jarvis Saylor. I'm actually from North Carolina, but my girlfriend is here from the Delco area. I'm not really too big on public speaking, although I am a musical artist, so I just wrote a short poem to express how I feel. Hands up, don't shoot. They can shoot anyway. Every day I'm living black. Blue lives can quit any day. With these locks in my head, they look at me like I'm crazy. It's a cold world out here. I'm kind of scared for my baby. I'm tired of seeing my people get put on a shirt. Cops trained for 6 months and now a badge they deserve. We just want to be equal, spread the love, not the fights. At the end, we are human. It's not about black or white. Love, love, love. There's no hate in my heart. Make the world a better place. Spreading love is where it starts. Every vote counts. You got a voice in the community. We all want change. We come to bond with some unity. Thank you.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Good? All right, I'm gonna put this in my pocket. It's not every day I get to come back to media. I got my cousin, Aaron, where you at? Where's your hand? Aaron? He's on the phone, he's booked and busy as usual. But when I was younger, I got to come to media because of an emergency that happened in my family. And it was here that a black woman who was my cousin took care of me, taught me to read, and I kind of want to dedicate this to her. It's called Shout Out. To the unknown legends in literature, the black woman whose works are so often overlooked, to the backbone, to the life essence, to the matriarchs, this is for you. Shout out to the commercial writers, mainstream writers setting the bar, Maya, Giovanni, Morrison, Walker, Butler, Shange, Hansberry. Shout out to the writers who evolved past pen and paper, learning to write in cornrows, twist, bandeau, the original digital stories of our history. The songwriters, speechwriters, lesson planners, recipe writers, scandalous TV show writers, and sisters writing checks. Are there any black women writing checks? Just identify yourself right now. I will talk to you after. Thank you. Now, before we go any further, let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, the Black Female Body, the ultimate writing prop, the birther of Black Diamonds, the skin and living color, the reinterpretation of Eden, growing from the scalp, the lips, an external representation of the bountiful spirit beyond its doors. And of course, sorry for all the kids, that ass. The supplier of hip-hop lyrics, the star of music videos, the breaker of 1 billion necks, WAP. The economic stabilizer, beauty never emulated but rather stolen, rebranded, colonized, fetishized, dolazoled, dragged by queens and Kardashians. You're being mine, sis, but I digress. Shout out to the Black First Lady who taught us to go high when the bar was so low. Why don't we ever listen? Called an ape in heels, go high. Likened to African gorillas, go high. Shout out to the revised blueprint of what a first lady should be. Countless speeches written to perfection, each magical word sparking a new flame into the heads of every black girl that listens, every black girl that reads, every black girl that dreams, go high. Speeches so transcendent that they cross over and they get renamed Melanias. Speeches bouncing around like a tennis ball hit by the great achievement writer, Serena. They will steal your voice right after saying it's declined, then say it's divine once they have left you behind or confined to their design. But hey, it is what it is. Making it clear that you can be nothing more than the coolest monkey in the political jungle. Ursula has nothing on these thieves, but you still go high, knowing that your blueprint is still intact. Shout out to the mothers of artists whose lives will be reduced to a portrait, a poem, a play, a song now available on iTunes. Us artists, knowing that our works will never measure up to your birth manifesto that is our lives. Shout out to the girlfriends who are faking it, sharing the greatest work of fiction to keep a black man's ego intact, sacrificing your satisfaction for the greater good. You deserve a Pulitzer. Your fables giving hope to fragile masculinity, much like Wakanda pitches hope of a unified black. But isn't that how prophecies work? Shout out to the uncredited writers. Oh, you don't know? Well, me too. No, me too. Created by Tarana Burke, not Alyssa Milano. But aren't most movements made by the dark and taken by the white? I mean, right. I mean, me too. I mean, us too. I mean, blacks too. Shout out to the underground ghostwriter Sandra Bland, the co-author of every applause line from an angry black poem about the police. Realizing that no college, no Sigma Gamma Rho membership, no advocacy job could cure writer's block better than a noose. No message gets the conversation going better than being a hashtag. Having no idea that when a cop pulled his taser and said, "I will light you up," that he was right. Your bestseller is lit, sis. But allow me to shout out her new protege. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Shout out to the mothers writing eulogies, a long-standing tradition of writing the foreword to your child's murder. Bestsellers like Harry Potter, but the depths are hollow. Like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Come through, Mammy Till. Come through, Sabrina Fulton. Come through, Leslie McFadden. Give us a new perspective on how they crucified a God. Tell us the last statements from your baby's mouth. Behold your son, but forgive them, mother, for they do not know what they do. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Mother, into your hands they shot my spirit. Right on, Black Marys. I am not a black woman, but I am the byproduct of your works. Thank you for the shout-outs of lessons learned. Thank you for being the first to say Black Lives Matter when us black men were running on CP time. Thank you, black grandmothers, for your hands. Now shout out, because we see you. Shout out. We feel you. Shout out. We hear you. Shout out. Love and blessings.
We've been doing Unity Day for the past 7 years. This year's a little bit different. Considering COVID going on, everybody trying to get together and work as one. Today, we are working together for the simple fact of Black Lives Matter. And we need unity in the community this year. So everybody out here, we appreciate all the vendors and all the churches and everybody that came out here today to support each other and be an example of media that we can work together as one. Just not in media, but everywhere. We need to work together.